out of Alberta. A short time ago, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith outlined her province's path forward with Mark Carney's government.
Well, I think there's no question it has to be taken seriously. I think it's very likely that there is a sovereignty referendum in Alberta in 2026. I think that's likely.
That the East doesn't understand us is that they simply don't care.
Alberta and Saskatchewan just dropped a political bombshell that's shaking the entire nation. From oil-rich rebellion to whispers of becoming the 51st and 52nd states of America, this isn't just noise anymore. The WEXIT movement is back, louder and more serious than ever, and Ottawa might be too late to stop it.
Alberta first, I would say, is because of the legacy that was passed on to.
They told the West to stay quiet, to wait, to be patient. But Alberta and Saskatchewan? They've waited long enough. These two provinces power Canada's economy, producing 75% of the nation's oil. Yet, they're treated like they're just background noise in Ottawa's political theater.
And natural resources. And so the math is absolutely devastating for Eastern Canada.
We exist solely as a colony, a resource colony, if you will, for Ottawa.
Think about it. Alberta alone contributes $70 billion to the national GDP through its energy sector. It pumps out 4.2 million barrels of oil every single day, more than most OPEC countries. And Saskatchewan, it's no slouch either. It's exporting wheat, uranium, and potash by the ton, mostly straight to the neighbors. Not to Ontario, not to Quebec. But while they produce, export, and earn, what do they get in return?
$750 million for Quebec to deal with immigration pressures from the federal government. They've offered us nothing. $0.
They get blocked pipelines, they get carbon taxes, and then they watch Ottawa take their billions and send it east through federal equalization payments. A fancy way of saying, you do the work, we'll take the money. Alberta by itself keeps the whole system afloat. If they walk tomorrow, the federal budget would bleed out over $20 billion a year, instantly.
The new threshold is 177,000 signatures collected within 4 months.
And that's why this isn't just noise anymore. That's why people are whispering about WEXIT again. But this time, the whispers are turning into signatures. Campaigns are gathering serious momentum. Alberta's Prosperity Project already blew past the required 177,000 signatures to trigger a referendum on independence.
We are a different mindset, how we perceive life, independence, freedoms.
Now here's where it really gets messy. The slogans 51st and 52nd states aren't just a joke anymore. Petitions are flying. Alberta and Saskatchewan trade more with Montana, Idaho, and North Dakota than with Ontario or Quebec. They share pipelines, energy infrastructure, even cultural values with American states far more than they do with Eastern Canada.
Yeah, so she is calling for guaranteed access to tidewater for Alberta's oil, gas, and critical minerals. She also wants Ottawa to end what she calls federal interference in the development of provincial resources. So repealing things like Bill C-69, which is the Federal Impact Assessment Act.
Or else, the 51st state talk is rebellion wrapped in rhetoric. It's saying we feel more connected to Billings, Montana than we do to downtown Toronto.
British Columbia is number 4. And can you guess who number 3 is? This is actually where you'll find Alberta.
Because right now, that's how Alberta and Saskatchewan feel. Used, ignored, and overruled. Alberta has 14% of Canada's entire economy, with only 11% of the population. And yet, they're sidelined, lectured, and taxed like they're the problem. This isn't just about politics anymore. It's personal.
Do you agree that the province of Alberta shall become a sovereign country and cease to be a province of Canada, yes or no?
It's a good idea. I think it's economically good. We'll have control of our own pipelines and make our own decisions instead of being puppets to Ottawa.
And the scary part, for Ottawa, there's a referendum coming in 2026. The question is direct. Should Alberta become a sovereign country and cease being a province of Canada? No dancing around, no fluff, just yes or no.
So how big is the push for Western separation, really?
Now think of what's at stake. If Alberta and Saskatchewan leave, even just one of them, Canada's economic engine is gone. The country loses its oil, its wheat, its uranium, its surplus, and suddenly all those provinces that lived off federal transfers will be on their own. Quebec might decide it's done too, and then what? If you're tired of media fluff and want the real story behind WEXIT, hit that subscribe button for future updates.
And I think it's easy for some of those people to think that separation is not only the best option, it's really the only option.
Let's rewind for a second, because all this 51st state talk didn't just appear out of nowhere. It started after the 2019 federal election, when a big chunk of the West looked at the results, looked at Trudeau's energy and tax policies, and basically said, you know what, we're out. That's when WEXIT was born. WEXIT has always been more about control, about autonomy, fairness, and not being treated like the federal government's piggy bank. Alberta and Saskatchewan want a voice, not a lecture.
Well, just the beginning is a clear majority of Albertans voting to clearly separate from Canada. So that's the starting point, but just the starting point.
Alberta didn't waste time. The Alberta Prosperity Project already blew past the requirement, gathering over 250,000 signatures. The question on the ballot? No fluff, no legal jargon, just should Alberta become a sovereign country and cease being a province of Canada? That's it. Yes or no? You in or you out?
Of course, it is a possibility that that there is an exit out of Canada, and the road way off that out of this country is through a sovereignty referendum. You've got to get a positive vote, a clear majority on a clear question to separate.
Meanwhile, Saskatchewan is gearing up too. Their requirement? Just 125,000 signatures. Early numbers show they're gaining steam, and Premier Scott Moe isn't exactly slamming the brakes. In political speak, he's basically saying, hey, if the people want it, I'm not getting in the way, which is a lot coming from a sitting premier.
So there's some highly placed people discussing Alberta separation. How plausible is it? I think that'll remain to be seen.
Now, let's clear something up, because this next part always gets twisted. This is about independence. The vote on the table isn't about becoming American. It's about breaking free from Ottawa's grip. This is a sovereignty question, not a statehood application.
The people didn't feel heard by the government. They felt sort of even abandoned. And not only that, but almost vilified, like, you know, oh, the oil patch, like really sort of already feeling like they weren't heard and appreciated for the economic engine that they are. But
at the end of the day, this isn't about leaving Canada to join neighbors. It's about leaving Ottawa behind. A system that Westerners feel doesn't represent them, doesn't respect them, and definitely doesn't listen. That referendum in 2026, it's not a bluff, it's the next chapter. And if Alberta and Saskatchewan keep getting ignored, well, don't be surprised if they decide to write the ending themselves. So while the East is busy talking about climate goals and carbon credits, Alberta and Saskatchewan are quietly doing something much more real, cutting Ottawa out of the conversation entirely. No press conferences, no drama, just straight up silent rebellion.
Alberta is home to one of the largest proven oil reserves. They're sitting on somewhere north of 150 billion barrels of oil. That potential is tapped every day.
These two provinces aren't waiting around for federal approval anymore. They're not begging for pipelines or trade routes. They're building their own. Because when Alberta shows up with 4.2 million barrels of oil per day, people listen. That's not a negotiation, that's a golden ticket. And Saskatchewan? Oh, it's playing the long game. Quiet, steady, deadly. Shipping uranium, wheat, potash, most of it not to Ottawa, but straight to the neighbors.
Government as well in really correcting some of the regulatory space that we have in this nation when it comes to the development of our natural resources.
You've got these two provinces acting more like neighbors to Idaho than siblings to Ontario, and everyone's just pretending that's normal. But it's not. It's a de facto separation, a quiet one, yes, but real nonetheless. While the rest of Canada argues about climate targets and plastic straws, the West is laying down infrastructure that completely bypasses federal gatekeeping. Now let's pause and ask the big question, will it actually happen, or is this just more noise?
What happens after there was, if we're imagining a positive separation referendum, is negotiation between Alberta and the rest of Canada, including Manitoba, on every one of those questions.
Here's what the numbers say. In Alberta, around 36% of people support full secession. In Saskatchewan, it's around 34%. So, yeah, it's still a minority, but not a small one. And we're not even at the vote yet. That's just the current climate. Give it a few more policy blunders from Ottawa, and those numbers might jump real fast.
I support the process of citizens being able to choose an issue that they care about and then being able to get enough signatures to put it to the people.
So no, Alberta's not storming out of the house with a suitcase just yet, but it is changing the locks. Meanwhile, what's Ottawa doing about all this? Honestly, not much. Either they don't think it's serious or they're just playing it off like some rural tantrum. Either way, it's not helping. The more Ottawa shrugs, the more the West smolders.
It's likely. And when that occurs, rhetoric is going to heat up. And of course, nobody knows the kinds of political dynamics that will be set in motion.
So here's the bottom line. Alberta and Saskatchewan aren't bluffing. They're serious. They hold the keys to Canada's oil, to its wheat, to its economic backbone. And if you keep treating them like second-class provinces, they might just stop calling themselves provinces altogether. If you've come this far, like this video and hit the subscribe button to get more updates on Canadian political shakeups.